All right, today we're jumping into one of the most incredible allegories in all of Scripture, the story of the Master, his vineyard, and the olive tree, which, as you know, represents the house of Israel. We're picking up the story told by the prophet Zenos at a really critical moment, right as the Master gets ready to inspect all his work.
So this verse right here, this is basically our ticket in. The master of the vineyard is calling his servant and us to come along and inspect what he calls the natural branches. These are the parts of Israel that were scattered a long time ago. We're about to join them on this journey to see what's happened to these forgotten pieces of the vineyard.
So when is all of this happening? Well, prophetically, this inspection is happening right around the 1st century AD. A long time has passed since the scattering, and now the master's back to see if those branches have actually produced good fruit and stayed true.
Okay, so our first stop on this tour is one of those natural branches, one that was planted centuries ago in what the servant calls a pretty poor spot. You have to wonder how it's done in such a tough environment. Let's see what they find.
And what's the verdict? Well, verse 20 tells us it's a huge success. I mean, think about it. Despite being in a really difficult situation, this branch hasn't just survived, it's absolutely thrived. It's produced much fruit, and the fruit was good. The master is thrilled, and he orders that fruit to be saved for the final harvest.
Now, you might be thinking poor spot means bad dirt or not enough water, right? But that's not it at all. This is all about the spiritual environment. We're talking about a place where the influence of non-believing nations was so strong that it was incredibly hard to live the gospel. Most scholars agree this is talking about the exiles in Babylon.
All right, the journey's not over. The master and his servant move on pretty quickly to check out 2 more branches. And you know what? The good news just keeps on coming.
And what we see here in verses 23 and 24 is just wow, a clear pattern of success. The second branch, which represents the 10 lost tribes, did great in a spot that was even poorer than the first. Then you have the third branch, the Mulekites, and they also brought forth good fruit. It seems like for these groups, being scattered actually helped preserve their righteousness.
Okay, so far so good, right? Well, hold on. The journey now takes a turn. We're heading to the 4th and final, hidden branch. The master calls it the last. And this one? Well, this one is different. It's a lot more complicated.
So verse 25 lays it all out for us. This final branch is the family of Lehi. And here's the real kicker. Unlike all the others that were planted in these tough spots, this one got the best land you could possibly ask for. A good spot of ground, the promised land of America. But weirdly, the group with every advantage is the one that produced a mixed bag, some good fruit and some wild, bad fruit.
And it's a really clear split. The good fruit, the tame fruit, well, that's the Nephites. And the wild fruit, the bad stuff, that represents the Lamanites. So what you have is this one branch that's totally at war with itself, internally divided, and really struggling.
So how does the master react when he sees this wild fruit? Well, his judgment in verse 26 is immediate and harsh. No messing around. He basically says, cut off the bad parts and throw them in the fire. He is ready to completely destroy the Lamanite lineage right then and there.
But wait, just as that command is given, the servant steps in. He's kind of like a prophet or an advocate here, and he sees something worth fighting for. He makes this incredible appeal for mercy.
And listen to this plea. He says, hold on, let us prune it and dig about it and nourish it a little longer. He's essentially begging for more time, saying, let's not give up yet. Let's give them one more shot. Let's put in the work and see if we can turn this around. It's just this beautiful moment of hope and a call for patience.
So you hear pruning and digging, and you think of a little light gardening, right? Well, think again. The sources tell us this is symbolic of something way more intense. We're talking about the massive, catastrophic destructions that hit the American continent right around the time of Christ's death. It was a huge, sweeping judgment that cleared out the most wicked people to give everyone else a fighting chance.
And you know what? The master listens. He actually agrees to the servant's plan. Judgment is put on hold, and mercy takes over. This is a huge turning point, not just for this one branch, but for the entire allegory.
So what does this path of mercy actually look like? Well, first, the Lamanites are spared. They aren't destroyed. Then comes the nourishment, and it's the ultimate nourishment. We're talking a personal visit from the resurrected Jesus Christ himself, who sets up his church there. And finally, verse 28 shows us this act of grace just spreads everywhere. The master and servant then go and nourish all the fruit of the vineyard. It's a beautiful, universal effort.
So for a moment, everything is perfect. Mercy won, the whole vineyard is getting the care it needs. But
the story's not over. The Master is going to leave again for another long time, a period that we know as the Great Apostasy. And that leaves us with a really big question. After all this care, after all this mercy, what's he going to find when he comes back after centuries of darkness? What will the fruit look like then?